Is it time to make yet another waistcoat? Why, of course. How could I not? This time, more black. Hello, it's Icy, that's right. You will be unsurprised to find out that I'm going to make yet another black waistcoat. Is this the third black waistcoat slash vest that I've made? Yes. Do I have plans to make other colours? Yes. But we're going to make another black one first. Of course. So, this one I want to be able to wear to PAX Australia in Melbourne in mid-October as I speak. It is the end of August, last week of August. So I should have time, assuming life things don't happen, which, you know, they have a tendency to do. But so I should have time to make that before we go. Now, the aim of this vest, though, is to be wearable both with, I don't want to say casual, I want to say business casual, business formal. Anyway, slightly fancy clothes, and also the Victorian jacket. So that means that I have basically I have to think about it quite carefully of the design, because this jacket, video in the corner, it actually has it doesn't button across. It actually joins, it comes to a point. So what that means is that it won't look any good with a vest like this, where you can physically see the buttons, because they're not covering the under buttons. These buttons would actually be visible, and no, that doesn't work. At least I personally don't think it does. So whether other people would think differently and have different ideas, no problem. Now, the other thing, of course, is this has a collar. It's just like a little standing up one. So I also want to make a vest that doesn't have a collar on it like this one. While I absolutely adore my shawl collars, or actually I really love just the little, could actually get away with like a little shorter version of this sort of popped collar. Oh. Let me think about that one. Anyway, no collar, very very small popped collar. We'll see. Anyway, big collar won't work. So what I'm looking at is something that is narrower in the sleeves than this, because this one obviously comes the full sleeve shoulder width. So narrower here, so more off the neck, or at least coming to the neck, coming out to a narrower point here, scooping across the top of the chest, possibly horizontal, we're not sure, and then coming to, if I do this is to fit it to do this on, sort of double-breasted, kind of double-breasted. In the back, I want it fairly cut away, so like quite scooped out on the backs of the shoulder blades, just for both mobility and like coolness, because the fabric I have, as you saw earlier, it's this very nice, very plasticky, non-stretch, fully non-stretch, and flocked with these little roses, which is, I think, going to be wonderful. And I think will work so well with the kind of Victorian vibe I've got going on. Now, I do have, this was $8 a metre, and I was so happy to find it, because finding a black brocade is surprisingly difficult. And then, of course, I found two from the same shop. So I have more than, I bought 2 meters. Do I need 2 meters? No, I really should have just got a meter. It would have been more than enough. Now, other fabric I have for this project is stuff I can't find right now. I think what I'm going to use also with this is some stretch drill to give it a bit of stretch, as you do. This is by no means it's going to be historically vibed as opposed to historically accurate. So we're going with very much vibes with this particular one. Is it going to be lined? I'm not 100% sure yet. It depends on what I end up using for the construction methods. The one I just took off is not. You can actually see the make of that in the description. It's kind of, the front two sections are lined, the front and the back section are lined for that one, and the sides are actually not lined because they're a single piece of stretch something or other. It's fine. So, what I also have, so I have the pattern that I drew up for that jacket. So, so that's one sort of part of it. And then what I also have is this fast fashion vest I bought quite a while ago and took in and made some modifications to because it fit terribly, really badly, and then it was fitting better for a while, but now it is too big. So what I've done is I've just put some pin marks in it. So I've pinned off a chunk across the back, and if we put this on, so that just gives it a better sort of shape, fits my humped shoulders across the back. And if I do this, this is single-breasted nominally, but I can sort of pull it all the way over. That's kind of the general vibe of what I'm after. That kind of shape. Possibly this would come out a little bit more, which I think I will repin to do that. But then it's going to scoop from where that pin mark is across the top of the bust and then come down to a first button just under the bust line here. Then 3 buttons, I think, seems enough. Sort of like that. So we put 3 sets of buttons on either side. Just make myself a nice little, quite scooped, open-shaped little waistcoat. So I should be able to wear that both with kind of the very formal Victorian stuff. It'll look wonderful with the huge big black skirt, but I can also wear it with pants. I should be able to probably wear it with like skinny-legged tight pants as well as the very flowy ones that I'll be wearing to PAX again. Link in the corner. So yeah, so I think I'm going to do a combination of taking, oh, that's right, here. So as you can see, this is not covering enough here either. So I'll take it basically from this pin line and then just add fabric sort of to cover that sort of inner kind of side boob kind of area. It's cutaway-ish at the back, especially now that I've pinned that center in. But honestly, I think I can scoop that back section out even further, which is what I want to do. I think possibly even take out that section sort of down to here. So it actually makes a really wide armhole at the back. Not that there's any sort of flexibility options here, like it's perfectly fine, it's great. I just want a bit more of a kind of a vibe. Now, so I have that fabric. But what I am thinking is and I'm still tossing this up, is I don't know if I want to make the entire vest out of the one fabric or if I want to mix and match sections. So what I am thinking is I could take the side seams, like sort of this side panel. On this one, the side seams are in the wrong spot, but if the side seams are here, I could take this side seam, the side panel out and make that in the matte black drill, the stretch drill, that just gives the vest a little bit more movement, a little bit of play, and just helps it be a little bit more wearable and honestly a little bit cooler, because then I've got cotton on the side panels as opposed to synthetics over the extent of it. So yeah, that's definitely something I'm thinking of as well. It's sort of, and I think a matte will work quite well with the flocked. I think it'll look okay. The other advantage with that is I don't have to be as precise with the pattern matching, which is something that I've not ever had to do. I don't sew with patterns, so I know of the concept of pattern matching, but I've never actually had to do any pattern matching. So this is something that I need to think of. So the one thing I think I need to be really, really careful of is if I am having the vest be double-breasted, I need to make sure that this double-breastedness matches the patterns perfectly. Like it sort of, you know, if there's a rose here, there should be a rose here, is here. So I need to really think about how that lays out as well. I might end up using some other, I could see a really interesting effect if I did the buttonhole strip in black and then had it like that, and then maybe like a matched strip on the other side or something. Could get some interesting geometric lines. And also I need to put these are fake pockets. These are not real, naturally. I need to put little coin pockets in. Now, up until now, I have never done a welt pocket, ever. I've never made welt pockets. Not once. Every other thing I've ever made, I've managed to design it in such a way that I could just put a pocket in a seam, because this was two separate pieces of fabric. So I could just have a little coin pocket here. Or even on the vest I was just wearing, I literally just made a patch pocket on it because it was way too late and I decided I'd finished the jacket and then decided I needed one. So maybe I try a welt pocket for the same time? First time? We'll see. Think you can... Yeah, we'll see. I might need to be brave and have a go. I guess the one saving grace is I do have enough material that if I stuff it up, I can do something about that. So, how big is this project? Medium, I would say. I'm not creating a pattern from scratch. I am creating a pattern from two existing sort of garments I already own, one of which I have the pattern for. So, you know, it's not terrible. Lengthwise, who knows? I already have the buttons, I already have the fabric, I already have the thread because it's black and I have 25 meters. So all I got to do, and I already have the lining if I decide I'm lining it. Multiple options of lining. And I have interfacing, though it's actually, so that synthetic fabric is not going to like to be interfaced. So it's probably good I'm not going to do a collar. So maybe I don't do a collar at all. We'll work it out. So let's try this and wish me luck. Okay, so as you can see, I did decide to make a bit of a mock-up, half a mock-up actually, and I'm glad I did because as I was combining, in the end I combined the back of the Starfield jacket with the front of the Ren Fair stays and got something that's okay but does need some adjustment. So I actually cut that high, so we fold that down. So as you can see, that's not bad. That is giving the right kind of vibe. I think it's all sitting a little large, but only by, you know, a couple, like a centimeter for the total width. So wearability basically should be fine. Or, you know, or I can just take out a little bit more out of the seams. So a couple of things is obviously I need to either decide that it's going to be higher at the back, which I don't think I want to. I think I still need, you know, like the top of the back of my pants to be covered rather than the shirt sitting out. So I'll need to add a little bit here, and that's okay. And I'll just basically take it from, I'll just make a nice line across there. I need to check the length of what I've got here underneath the ESO Victorian jacket, because this needs to basically be covered underneath, so I might need to change the bottom line a little bit. And the other thing I need to do is, you can see this is weird here, so I need to basically take that in by a centimeter, and I need to release, I think, a teeny bit across here. Basically, the scooped sections here, this whole sort of bit, I think in my initial pattern, actually for the stays, sits a lot lower, and I had the waistline marked, and I didn't trust myself. And so this is a bit weird, but that's an easy fix. And because I decided to make a mock-up, good job me, I can fix it easily before I move it onto the final fabric. So yeah, I'm pleased. I'm happy. That took all of about 20 minutes to do. Make a mock-up. And also this message is for some future Icy who decides to not make a mock-up. Hey you should make a mock-up. Okay, so I have my pattern pieces. I've got the adjustments made to better fit the bust and all the other bits. So we're ready to go. Now, obviously, I've got to cut it out of this patterned material. Normally, if I was sewing something that was plain, or even, I guess, plaid, I just fold it in half, whack a pattern piece on, and then cut the two pieces out together. But this time, I need to actually make sure that I've got two things I need to do. One is, I think I need to have basically the front piece mirrored. So it needs to actually, even though it's an overlap, I still need it to look the same because the shoulder sections need to basically have the same design on both sides. So I need to actually make sure, so I've traced this out. So, you know, if there's a flocked section here on the sleeve or there is a flock section here, I need to make sure that on the mirror piece, that same flock section is there. So on the visible spots, especially the non-overlap spots, it needs to look identical. So this is interesting. And of course, I still need to have it at 90 degrees. I can't twist it. It still has to be, you know, basically pretty much 90 degrees to the selvage edge because, you know, otherwise it's not going to sit properly. So that's the first step. So I think, can we see? Oh yeah, maybe. So along this seam here, what I've tried to do, this is the side seam at the front. So I've tried to make it so it's not really passing through any flocked flowers. There's a couple, but in the main, it's clear. Hopefully that'll make it easier because then I need to take this piece and then I need to match it so that it both uses at least approximately the right grain and it matches how the flowers, like what flowers are showing up on the inside is what flowers are showing up on the outside. So this is going to be quite difficult is what I'm saying. And it's probably good that I have quite a lot of fabric. I think total I would need, I mean, 1/2 meter would have done the whole thing. Oh, wait, hang on. So I've just remembered my original plan was to have these side pieces in black, in which case I don't need to match. That makes that a lot easier. And I've got far too much material to work out some other project to do with the flocked fabric. Oh, that makes it so much easier if that's the case, because that means all I got to do is just make sure that the very minimum, this basically from here up, so from sort of here up, matches on both sides. The back piece is cut on the fold. So I just need to lay that out and then make sure that it's like intersecting sort of, you know, like a row of flowers so that when it's mirrored, it looks right. And I need to make sure actually that at the top of the shoulders, that is nothing weird going on as well. Okay, that should make it a lot easier than I had thought. But yeah, if you are making all sections in the flocked material, that's something you would absolutely have to think of. But yeah, I think it'll be okay if I'm doing the sides in plain. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so we've got the front and side pieces and back pieces, all of this is cut out and interfaced. I was originally going to use a sewing interfacing and it wasn't working on this fabric. This fabric is not stretch, but just like trying to sew it on, there was too much movement, and so we had to just go with the heavy iron-on interfacing, which is working pretty well, I think. So, can we see what we've got here? It's not the general vibe. Very pleased, very pleased. So obviously there's going to be a 1.5 to 1 centimeter. All of these edges will come in as I interface, like line it basically. So that'll take it in further. Cut in general, very good. Could definitely come in a little bit more on these back seams here, which I will do. This is just pinned on the side right now because I figured it's actually easier to like do the lining and stuff if it's not fully sewn together. But despite the fact I made a full, well, half a mock-up, look at this. This is like, what is this? This is like, it's like 6 sizes too big across here. It's all lumpy. I think it's okay. I think it's okay on the back. But yeah, it's like, I need to redo all of this here. So the easiest way to do that is with some pins. And then just put it on inside out. And then just like pin it. I will probably have to, gotta be careful of the pins of the underarms. I will have to probably unpick it first and then repin it. So actually I think the easiest thing will to be actually sort of pin it in place. Then just use a pen to mark it on the lining, which is the other reason, even though normally you would try and use black lining with black fabric, the one advantage to using white lining is that I can just straight up draw on here. So let's do this. Actually, we can probably just pinch it out. Okay, so we need, I think, at least 0.5 centimeter in at the top even. And then we're going to pinch this down. I'm going to get all the way down here. In fact, it's like wildly wrong, and I'm not quite sure how I got this so wrong. Like significantly, like we are talking, I mean, at least 0.5 centimeter across this whole line here, maybe more, honestly. Very impressive. Like, how did I manage this? So, yeah, okay. Let's see if that actually showed up. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. I can't draw it on the underside. The side piece is not lined. That was a pointless exercise. No, the drawing, it completely didn't work. So we're just going to pin that again, which I will do that off camera, and then we'll resew those. It's done. I finished. I made a thing. It fits well now. So to go through, I've got some plastic boning here and on the back seams. I introduced a little kind of vent at the back, which works really well, just to take out some extra. I had to make so many adjustments. Even though I made a mock-up, so many adjustments. So a couple of things I learned from this particular project. This flocked fabric is no good if you need to make something precise. What I should have done, which I didn't know until after I'd sort of done stuff, but what you can do with quite unstable fabric is you can interface the whole thing. You basically just take iron-on interfacing and just iron it across the entire surface you're planning to cut out on, then cut it out. So if I'd done that, the whole thing would have been a bit more accurate. However, I very much learned that my master pattern is incorrect. It is very much not right. I took approximately this much off the back part basically, and then also cut the neckline down. I did know that the master pattern's neck, like where it hits at the back of the neck, was too high, but I took out that much off the top of the back of the pattern piece, and cut the neck down a lot further. So I need to make sure as well that all the changes I made to this are then transferred over. Now, it is a little too busty, I think. I think this cuts too far out. So what I discovered was I did want it to be on the outside because I wanted it to cut and then button under the bust. That did have an effect. And if I did still want like a scooped line. So if I'd taken it across here, it would have not been scooped. I would have had a much more sort of point here, which is what I didn't want. But I should have probably decided that either it's fine, right? Like I am happy with the design, happy with how it looks, happy with how it sits. But yeah, it's pretty busty. It's pretty busty. So we'll still work with all of the shirts and things I've been planning to wear this with. And I do have more of this fabric, including the stretch broadcloth or twill, whatever it is, the stretch denim? No, drill. The stretch drill I use for the side panels. So, you know, so basically what I'm saying is I'm probably going to need to make another vest at some point, another waistcoat. I really like this little 3-button, just the 3 buttons here. There's a hidden invisible one under there to hold the inner panel over. That worked great. Took me so long to work out the fabric patterning, but of course the real idea was this had to match here, this has to continue the pattern here. So that does, and I'm very pleased with how that worked. I feel very fancy. So yeah, in general, it worked pretty well. Happy as well that I chose just to line the front sections and the center back. The side sections are unlined because I wanted something that wouldn't feel too hot. But I've edged it, with another piece of the stretch, and then I've got just, which you might have picked up from the actual sewing videos, maybe. All of the edging is just bound with that last little bit of satin bias binding tape that I've got that's so terrible. So that looks neat, basically. It looks neat and it's finished nicely. So it fits like a dream. I had to make so many changes to the pattern, it's not funny. Also across the bust, I think because it's so far off the edge of the bust line, it's got some weird, there was some like weirdness with the edge of the princess seam, basically. I had to keep modifying it and modifying it and modifying it. I mean, it took like a full half hour of make a little bit, pin it, is that working? No. Make a little bit, pin it, is that working? No. Repeat, sew it, try it, go, no. Take it in further, keep it, like for real. Like it was just like, oh my goodness. Yeah, it was a thing. So anyway, I'm very much looking forward to wearing this. I think it should work very nicely with all of my Victorian stuff. It does work very nicely underneath the Victorian style jacket, which is why this is designed like this. This is the whole point, so that the jacket that just meets at a point here that you can see everything underneath, this looks right with no buttons showing. That was the whole point, and that's absolutely achieved that. So yeah, I'm very happy. It's flattering, fits well, it's comfortable, it's not too tight. And yeah, I'm very pleased with how it's come together. What's the next project? No idea. I don't know at this stage. We'll work something out. But I'd like to say thank you very much for joining me here on YouTube as I sew pretty things to wear to different places. There have been slightly less videos because there's a lot of stuff going on. It happens, right? Where it happens, we do what we can, we sew what we can, and then yeah, we upload what we can, something like that. Find me over on Threads at Hullo it's IZ, and come say hello. I'd love to see you. Thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.